What's going on, YouTube? Just wanted to give you the first part here of the Corsair birdcage build, and start off with, as the instructions showed, it starts with the cockpit, and seeing this one came with a KMC aftermarket resin set, went through and really looked through the set, looked at the details, and actually decided, you know what, I'm gonna kind of hodgepodge things together. So kit parts that are going to be used, as you can see, I'm going to go ahead and retain the molded in detail here on this side. It really just kind of fits well enough. It when it's put all together, you can barely see into it, so I'm fine with the detail on this side. However, I like the throttle assembly on this side, so I've went ahead and molded in this. Now you might notice a crack through here and things like that. Using super glue, I'm not used to it. I'm used to using, Tamiya extra thin or some other, normal plastic solvent. I'm not used to resin that much yet. And set it down and it stuck. So I had to notch out a path here for the back of the seat, back firewall, the back armor for the seat. And then luckily it did stick at a point where it's fairly lined up, and so I had to notch out a tiny little piece up here that would fit in this little corner, and then I'm gonna lightly kind of smooth out this here. The cracks have been filled with super glue, so once I get some paint on it, you shouldn't see it. And then again, once everything's in, it's such a tight ship, you really won't see any of it. So but in either case, went ahead and used that. Now, as far as the actual interior goes, I want to do kind of a side-by-side comparison. Excuse me, a little bit of dust on this still. Go ahead and lock that in. Okay, so this is the rear the rear armor and seat mount for the Corsair, as well as the two side consoles. Fairly decent detail on the side consoles. The seat absolutely stinks. And also the back firewall itself isn't really what I would consider up to standard to me. Also, some of the side molded detail here is just a little lacking. It's just not as crisp as it could be. And so what I've went ahead and done is I'm going to use this, which is the KMC interior. Now, obviously, like I said, this is using resin, so you got to take a little more consideration with that, dealing with super glues. I am using a couple of kit parts that it did not call for, which would be a couple of tanks here on the side. I like the added handle, it just looks a little bit cleaner. But as far as the consoles go on either side, this looks a whole lot nicer in my opinion. And obviously the seat is miles above the built-in. The reason I went ahead and went with this part as well is I like the headrest. It looks a little bit more natural than just a tiny little dot of plastic. So I'm going to go ahead and use the back part here. However, it's the exact opposite when it comes to the actual instrument panel. So the instrument panel itself, gauge-wise, does have molded in gauges. Let me go ahead and try to lock in a little better there. It does have molded in gauges, as you can see, for the bezels. However, the detail is just not there on the resin part. So I'm going to toss this aside, and I'm going to go ahead and use this. The other thing that was a major kind of disappointment to me being the resin, and let's see if I can find it here real quick, kind of got kicked out of the way, is actually when it comes to the rudder pedals, because as you can see, the rudder pedals are actually like completely separate. However, if you look at the resin part, it would have been molded in, and it just, there's so much detail that is lacking that I just went ahead and said, you know what, I'm just going to go with this part here. So still got to kind of get things ready to go, but we'll use probably the decals over these, hit them multiple times with some set and sole just to really bed them down, and I think that should really liven this panel up. Obviously, once I get the interior green on that, and then that's about it for tonight. So the big thing tonight was really getting the interior together. And so, like I said, this part and this part will actually get tossed in the bin just so I don't forget which parts I was going to use. And so I've already done some test fitting. That's the one other thing you got to make sure that you do when dropping in resin parts like this, is to test fit it to death, because especially with the side panel here, it adds about 1/8 of an inch maybe. If I didn't sand the back down, which I had actually sanded off quite a bit of the backing of this to get it down from pretty decent thickness here down to a thinner sheet piece here, and that allowed me the ability to just kind of get it down and in and things like that. But like I said, the big thing you want to do is obviously, like I said, test fit, make sure that everything goes in, that there's no parts that are gonna get caught and cause you any problems when you go to button up the fuselage halves together. But again, after doing a test, that's not going to be an issue. So hope you guys enjoyed part 1 here. Hope to be back at it with within a day or so here. Get the interior green sprayed, and then look to get the fuselage halves buttoned up as well. So hope you guys are going to enjoy this series. If you have any questions or comments on this, definitely feel free to post in the comments below. If you're not a subscriber, definitely like, share, subscribe, all of that fun stuff, and I'll catch you later.